Okay, this is my first Langstroth hive. This hive yesterday, we had 80 something degree temps. This hive was bearding like crazy. I knew they weren't my swarm hive just based on the number of bees on the very front. So what we are going to do here, the plan is we're going to add our first super to this hive and give them some space and let them rock it out. Let's see, which one is this? I believe this is a super. Now, what I did, if you ever follow Frederick Dunn, he's a backyard beekeeper, but he's both funny and engaging. He said to try rubbing some beeswax on the actual comb itself, not painting it on like some people do, melting it and painting it on, but actually rubbing on beeswax loosely, like almost like you would wax on a skateboard. And I happened to have a bunch of organic wax left over from my Lands Hive frames, and I went ahead and gave that a shot. So what I did yesterday was I melted all that wax down, and just taking a look to make sure my queen's not on there. Whoop. See if that's any better there. I took some wax and I melted it into a ball, or into a puck, I guess. And then I was able to rub that wax all over these super frames. And what that's supposed to do is draw them up into the upper box, because I have had no luck getting my supers to have drawn comb. And it's always because, just like with this other hive, every year I have a queen issue. Either a hive swarms, I lose a queen. Now I could go requeen them this week if I wanted to. I could go buy a queen for $50. I got 6 hives. I already dropped $1,200 on package bees this year. So I have made the conscious decision that I am not doing that. I'm going to let these guys requeen naturally. Just weighing this one out, 18.2. So already we're up in weight, which is nice. I'm going to let them requeen naturally and just see where it goes. 18.2 on this side. So we're 36 pounds in this upper box. I'm going to go ahead and actually do my bottom box first. So I have a little table over here. If you don't have one, get yourself one. It helps me to just kind of organize them a lot. Let's see here, zeroed out. 16.3. And just out of 16, 15.7. So I guess what's kind of frustrating me about these Lands hives is you're not supposed to inspect them. Not to the degree of frequency that you do, say, a Langstroth hive. And of course, last week is the first week I decided to follow that, and I did not inspect all the way through my Lands hive. And had I might have seen that we were having a queen issue. But I guess we wouldn't have had last week. We would have had a queen, but we did not have any eggs, which is so weird because it's unlike them to swarm. It's unlike bees to swarm if they don't have a queen, and usually several queens, which makes me wonder if that queen is failing. And I just moved her up front, so because I caught my swarm. I happened to walk out here last week, and look at all the bees on this hive. And I caught my swarm. This is all nectar, and it's all nectar that they've brought in. So this one's almost a full frame of honey right here, which is great. We kind of had started a nectar flow, and then yesterday we had a monster storm roll through. We've had 2 cool downs, which seems to be common here. Frame 2 is all nectar. I do have a queen cup, an emergency like supersedure cell, but it's not loaded. And this one has a little bit of brood, and the rest of it's all nectar. So we had a cool down, and then we had a really bad storm roll through here yesterday. And then it's actually going to cool down a little bit again over the weekend. Frame 3 has some larvae. It looks like it was all hatched out and partially relayed. It's still kind of hatching out. The back side of this. Oh. Yeah, there's some eggs, some larvae, pollen, capped honey, but she's got a lot of room to lay on this frame. Well, no, it's got eggs. So maybe I'm wrong. I can see some nectar dripping out of these things, and if it's dripping out, that's nectar that they brought in. We have seen OCA dogwood. This has larvae, eggs, larvae, no real capped brood. Backside of this is all laid out, eggs, larvae. A lot of population down here. It's a perfect time for me to add a super. These guys have plenty of bees up here. They've had a hatch out, and a big portion of that's all the way. I mean, you can see that's all the way end to end, cap brood, beautiful frame of bees. All worker. So yeah, this is a hive that I would expect to definitely get probably some honey out of this year. I have just honestly had zero luck getting my supers drawn, so I'm trying anything I can. I've always had these latent queen issues that happen just like this other hive, which is why I'm glad I have multiple hives this year. Because if it happened and I only had 2 hives, well, then I'd be down to 1. I have 6 hives now, 7 that I caught a swarm. And if that 7th hive up front starts laying pretty quickly, I don't expect any honey out of them, but, I should be in good shape. So the last frame was all cap brood. This is a mix of cap brood and pollen. An emergency queen cell, but it doesn't look loaded. Another emergency queen cell, but doesn't look like it has anything in it. I don't see any kind of swarm cells, which is good. We just added space to them last week. This has some larvae in it, but it's not laid out end to end, but it definitely does have a little bit of larva laid out in it. I've not seen my queen. I will say that this hive seems less defensive than I feel like it has been in the past. This is a honey frame with a little bit of brood on it. On the back side of this is all nectar that they're getting ready to cap, so that's good. This one's looking good. No swarm cells, which is even better, because I'm telling you what, these carniolans, I mean, they like to swarm. Come on. Come on, move out of the way. Get off the in between the frame there. Okay, so this bottom box is looking good. They did add some weight this week, which is great. Upper box improved weight. Let's go ahead and pull this off and we'll inspect that. I definitely have bees on every frame here, so it is ready for the super. In fact, I'm hoping I'm not late because it's kind of heavy. Keep putting this on and then it's like a little crooked. I can't believe that hive swarmed and did not have a queen cell. You know, I tell everybody, and I probably said this 1,000 times in my videos, these animals are like a 50-sided Rubik's Cube where every side is missing one color. And you're going to get the puzzle right. Look at that, that's all nectar. And that's all nectar from them. So they're definitely pulling in nectar now. They're building out this backside. So I'm going to flip it around. That'll encourage them to build out the rest of this backside. The other side is almost all the way full. But yeah, I tell everybody there's like a 50-sided Rubik's Cube where every side's missing one color. It's a puzzle that you'll never get right, but you can get close. This upper frame 2 is drones on the bottom. It is laid out, and it is a brood frame. And wow, look at the back side of that. That is all capped brood. Some big old drones too. So the idea with this other hive is I took frames of cap brood and eggs from that hive over there. I dropped it in over here, and they'll be able to make their own queen. And once they make their own queen, they'll be back in business. But the problem is it is going to take 21 days-ish, 3 weeks from egg to emergence and mating. So, you know, it can be three weeks from now before they have a mated queen. And these last 2 frames are all 100% laid out. I did not see my queen yet. I think this is one that's her markings kind of come off a little bit though. But then once she starts laying eggs, it's another 3 weeks. So that hive will miss the nectar flow almost completely. So I wouldn't expect much from them. In fact, I might feed them in the interim just to help them. This is, again, fully laid out. End to end, this queen is just a baller. I almost want to put this freaking frame downstairs, but I'm not going to. And because I'm using Land's frames over there, I can't like steal from here. I can only steal from my Land's hives. Again, end to end, laid out, not capped, honey in the corners. She could be up here. Got a lot of honey in the corners here. Yep, and it's all eggs. So she might have just been up here. This hive is getting ready to explode. I could probably even put 2 supers on this one, to be honest. She's really laid out this upper box. The lower box has brood and stuff, but the upper box is just wall to wall. This one's almost all honey. And they will fill this upper box with honey. And it's got some eggs on this side. So, although I didn't see my queen yet, I don't really need to. This is almost all capped honey. So this upper box will eventually become all capped honey. Yeah, this one's almost full. Wow. So they're getting nectar. So I'm adding a super at the right time. That's what that tells me. Just smoking them a little bit so I can move the frames without harming any bees in the process. This hive looks great. Really pleased with it. I'm excited to put a super on them. And I think they're going to draw it out fairly quickly. I would say probably within a week they'll have this thing drawn out. So and like I said, what I did was, you can't really see it, but I just rubbed a ball of organic wax across the top here. And supposedly that will pull them up into this box. And in fact, they're already coming up here to check it out. So, knock on wood, this year, I might actually get some damn drawn comb and some honey out of my supers. Which would be super. So, got at least one hive with a super on it, which is a huge improvement. This is my only year where I've had a super on this early. Weight's going up, honey's being drawn, or honey's being inserted, nectar, and these girls are rocking and rolling. On to the next one.